know what time it is? It's time for KP's Video News. KP's Video News, y'all. KP's Video News, y'all. KP's Video News, y'all. That's right, we live and we doing this thing on the flies. That's right, folks. KP's Video News live, man. We doing it up. So this is going to be part 2 of my story that I was doing yesterday about black wealth. And it's like it's 5 ways. A whole lot of ways that black people need to keep the money in the community, and that's how you acquire wealth, and that's how you maintain wealth, is to keep the dollars in your community. And I was talking with somebody about that a few weeks ago, and I was telling them how I remember when I was a kid, and I didn't understand it, her reasoning for doing what she was doing, because it was with several stores and supermarkets and all that stuff in my community. However, I had a family member that would basically travel to different neighborhoods, to shop. And I realized afterwards the reason why, and that was because if you was going grocery shopping in different neighborhoods, you got different quality of goods. You have different vegetables. You have better produce. You got better meat. So in some of those stores in the inner city, it's a shame and it's a tragedy, and this is something that we have to work on, is to try to get better products and get control of our stores, and just use our own farms, because black people do have own farms all over the country. And if we can try to get our own farms in line with our own stores and supermarkets, that means we would be able to get a better quality of product into the inner city, into our communities. So I'm talking about from the farm to the supermarkets that we own, to our kitchens in our houses that we own, and that's that's home ownership. So that's how another way you acquire wealth is by home ownership. You'll never get rich and you'll never acquire wealth by living in an apartment. It just don't work like that. Anyway, on with the story here. And so it's it's something that the African American communities, and they go outside of their communities to do business. And anytime the money is taken out of the African American community and invested in another community that isn't giving back, it hurts the African American community. Going a step further, many businesses that refuse and even neglect to hire people from within the community in which they serve are obviously investing their money somewhere else. They're not investing it in our community. They're investing in their own communities where they live, because the majority of those people live outside of the community. And I was talking about this yesterday, and I believe my video got cut off, was that you have Arabs, you have Koreans, you got Vietnamese, you got Hispanics, you have white business owners, and the list goes on and on and on, that have businesses in our community. However, you would never be able to set up a black business in their community. First of all, they're not going to allow you to do it, and if you did, they wouldn't patronize it. You will not see Hispanic, Asian, or white person shopping buying food from a soul food restaurant. They're not going to do it. But they want you to come to their restaurants. They want you to come to the Chinese restaurant, the Mexican restaurant, the Italian restaurant, and buy food and eat at their restaurants. But they're not going to come to your neighborhood and eat from your restaurant. They're just not going to do it. They're not going to patronize your businesses, period. So this is a major problem, and it's a major problem for the African American community and the circulation of the dollar. And now this right here is really upsetting. And this goes all the way back to 2012 when the NAACP discovered the following. The current dollar circulation in the Asian community lasts for about a month. So that means if the Asians get $1, that dollar is going to stay in their community for 30 days. It's going to be there for a month. In the Jewish community, if they get that dollar is going to stay in their community for 20 days. In the white community, that dollar is going to stay in their community for 17 days, being recirculated and recycled in their community. But the dollar in the black community lasts 6 hours. 6. It stays in your black community for 6 hours. That means by the time you go to the bank and you draw money out the bank and you get that dollar in your hand and you go to the store and you spend it with somebody that lives outside of your neighborhood, that dollar's gone. 6 hours is the life of a dollars in the African American community. But as I said yesterday, the African American buying power is $3.9 trillion. But yet, only 2 cents of every dollar an African American spends goes to a black-owned business. So, I mean, hey man, these are statistics and these are facts. It's a major problem for the black community. It's a real problem for the black community when the circulation of the dollar only lasts 6 hours at the most. And it's no wonder that many black businesses close and unemployment is high within the African American community. Without doing an assessment of why we can't keep our money within the community, we find ourselves continuing to support other communities and neglecting our own. So that's what I said yesterday. The black community looks like somebody dropped a bomb on it. I mean, it's been bombarded because there's no money being recycled in the community to upgrade the community to make we can make our own community a paradise if we recycled our own dollars. So unless we understand where our money's going, we'll continue to throw it away. We'll continue to throw it away. We have supported too many businesses that don't cater to our communities. So supporting liquor stores, pawn shops, title pawn companies, those check cashing, check loan companies. They only cripple the community. They only destroy the community. They're not doing anything to uplift the community. So I know one time in Compton, years ago, I went down the street, I believe it might have been Rosecrans, and between, let's say, Central and probably Long Beach Boulevard, it must have been about at least 15 liquor stores, or at least 15 places where you can go buy liquor. All on one block. Within that block, couple of block area. It's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. The only restaurants you see in certain areas is fast food. Fast food restaurants. Junk food. Nothing that you really need to be feeding your kids. You'll see McDonald's, Jack in the Box, Burger King, and Kentucky Fried Chicken all on the same corner. Not one family-owned restaurant that's serving decent food for your kids to eat. And then you wonder why they grow up when they have learning disabilities and they have physical ailments because of the junk that you keep feeding them. But that's a whole nother story. So here's some of the things we got to do in order to maintain, in order to get back on track. We got to invest money within our own community, with our own businesses and organizations to try to help and don't hinder, that's not trying to hinder to take the money out themselves. Because you will have some people that will set up a business that live in the suburbs, a black-owned business. The black people living in the suburbs, but they got the business in the hood, so they basically doing the same thing. So you got to ask, and you got to not only ask, you got to demand that if people set up businesses in your community, that they got to hire people from inside your community. Make sure that they hire people from your neighborhood. If they're going to set up a business in your neighborhood, make sure they hire people from your neighborhood. If they don't, do not patronize them. Do not spend money there. And you let them know, hey, I'm not spending any money with you because you don't have anybody from my neighborhood working in your store. So I refuse. We got to start more businesses. We got to create more businesses, not repeat, not the same businesses. We don't need 12 liquor stores on the same block. We don't need 12 beauty shops on the same block. We don't need 10 barbershops on the same block. Spread this stuff out. Spread it out. We don't need to have the same repeat businesses all within a foot traffic of each other. And we got to teach our children the value of $1, and we got to teach our children to be business owners, not just workers. For too long, we've been teaching our kids to go to school, get an education so you can get a good job. Now, we need to be trying to teach our kids to be business owners, owners of their own businesses. That's how you create wealth. And then you got to create generational wealth. Generational wealth, that's the kind of wealth that you can pass on from one generation to the next. Even if it's something just like you leaving property or leaving your home to your kids, that's generational wealth that you can leave to your children. I got into a real big argument with a guy at work years ago, and I actually stopped talking to him because of this reason. And so he made the statement that when he died, he wasn't going to leave his kids anything. And I couldn't understand it. I asked him why, and his reason was because his parents didn't leave him anything. Nobody never left him anything, so therefore he wasn't going to leave anybody anything. So that is a foolish way of thinking. To me, it seems as though, okay, well, nobody left you anything, so that means you should be focused on making sure you didn't repeat that foolishness. Some people are just leaving their kids a bunch of bills, and that's it. A bunch of bills and a bunch of headaches and hardships. Leave your kids something. Take out insurance policy. Leave your kids some money, man. Leave them something so they can get a better start. And then we got to monitor our spending habits. Our spending habits, because like I said before, $3.9 trillion. That's not how much money we are bringing in. That's how much money we putting out. That's how much money we give away on a yearly basis. $3.9 trillion is how much the black community spends on frivolous nonsense, foolishness. So we need to become manufacturers. We need to become manufacturers, and we need to become creators of products, and not just consumers. We need to be producing these products, not having somebody in China produce products and then you turn around and sell it here. No, we need to be producing our own products, even if you got to make it by hand. So that's phase. That's one of the phases. So they have a corporation, the Association of African American Financial Advisors, and this is a group that hey, if you got the cooperation and out there, then people can get some things done. So this association was created to address the needs and concerns of African American financial professionals, and it's a nonprofit membership organization for African American financial advisors and affiliated professionals, and they work in alliance with academic leaders at HBCUs that support financial planning degree programs, legislative and regulatory bodies, financial services firms, consumer interest organizations, and AAA as 4As. Fosters the value of financial planning and advances the financial planning profession. So it's about these are people that create financial planning, because if we can't open a business up until you know how to operate that business, so you need to know how to financially plan everything that you're doing. You have to have a plan. You can't just walk into a bank and saying, well, I need $10,000 to start a business without a plan. They're going to turn you down, and they're going to refuse you every single time. So it's loans and grants, and it's all type of opportunities out there. But you got to really get out there, and you got to reach out there, and you got to grab them, and then other things you can just do to create your own business. I know this particular person that that I was in a relationship with, and I was trying to explain some things to her about how to create a business. And so I was able to instrumental in helping her get started on a business, bakery business. You know, she was really good at baking, and that was one of her strong suits. I'm like, hey, why don't you go ahead and package some of this stuff up and sell it? So she eventually started a small business by just starting. You got to start somewhere. Selling slices of cake, man. Okay, so here we go. On with the show. We got a formerly homeless doctor that is tells his story about beating the odds. That's right. This guy was formerly homeless, and so is a resilient and new award-winning short film that shines a light on childhood homelessness by looking through the life of Dr. Tommy Watson, whose parents were arrested 121 times by the time he was a homeless senior in high school. During that time, he had been recruited as one of the top football players in America. There are nearly 3 million homeless students in the nation's public schools, a problem that continues to grow at staggering rates. Every night in Charlotte, North Carolina, nearly 4,000 kids will go to sleep in shelters, motel rooms, and in cars. According to the Institute of Children, Poverty, and Homelessness, these studies have an 87%, these students, they got an 87% chance of dropping out. This story, called Resilient, is based on Dr. Watson's real-life, award-winning book entitled A Face of Courage and the Tommy Watson Story. The purpose of writing and producing his short film was to inspire others to be the best that they could be, regardless of the challenges they face in life. And he explains, I want people to know that our stories, good or bad, make us who we are and what we decide to become. That's right. So, Resilient, similar to the movie's Blind Side, and A Pursuit of Happiness, depicts a homeless Tommy Watson willing to do whatever it takes and against all odds to rise above the circumstance and flourish. And so that's the name of that name of that film. Again, is Resilient, and it's pretty good. So you know, this you can watch it. It's the award-winning short film, and you can actually see this film on YouTube. So I'll put the link up so you can watch the film. Here's another success story, and this got an ex-con that turned entrepreneur, and he wrote his second book, inspiring readers on his journey to the sweet life, and a motivational book from Kedron Brewster, a two-time author and ex-con turned business owner, takes readers on an adventure of the full challenges and obstacles that he overcame to reach the level of success he desired. And in From the Streets to the Suites, Kedron describes the hurdles he confronted on his quest to reach success, and an encouraging tale of his experiences from investing in yourself, learning to accept help, and seizing opportunities to demonstrate to readers that no matter what you go through, persistence and determination can take you places that you never even dreamed of. Persistence and determination. Two things: persistence and determination. Don't give up, and you gotta have a dream, and you gotta do it. You gotta push. You gotta push forward. So, understanding things, you gotta understand that either there's a couple of lessons. That either pressure would either make you or break you, and accepting when it's necessary, and building a team of solid individuals around you to help you reach your goals, and identifying opportunity and seizing it at the exact right moment to boost your career. And so he got a book, and this book is on sale, and I'll put the link on there where you can find his book. And wow, he did 10 years in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice and in the penitentiary, but upon his release, he worked various jobs until he made the life-altering decision to get his commercial driver's license, and that led to him eventually to pass entrepreneurship when he brought his first truck and trailer and started his own hotshot trucking company. His business has now expanded to a fleet of 18 including 18-wheelers, and has quickly becoming known as a company that gives felons second chances. He uses this story to spread awareness and that anyone can change if that's what they aspire to do. Anybody can change, man. So that's a good positive story, and I'm gonna end this on probably one of the most positive stories that I've heard all day. And it's about some siblings in Atlanta that surprised their mother. And so June Hassan, her mother from Atlanta, Georgia, says she was pleasantly surprised when her children decided to help her pay off her house. That's right. You know, the children made a dream come true on her birthday, and inside the birthday card they gave their mother a check for the remainder of her mortgage payments. And they said we were just as surprised as she was that they were able to do it. Tony, June's son, who was a lawyer, stated, as a part of me never thought it was possible, but it meant as much to me as it did to her. Tony said he had always thought of giving this gift to his mother since he was 14 years old. So for the past 2 years, he teamed up with his two sisters, Sherry and Jessica, and they started saving up to make it finally happen. The siblings say that one of their sisters passed away last October, and it was obviously very devastating to their mom. After that, they said they had to do this for her. And you never know how much time you have with someone. June says that she feels blessed and proudly to be able to celebrate the moment with both her children and her grandchildren. And that's a feel-good story right there, folks. And I'm telling you, that is a major accomplishment, man. Generational wealth. They created their own generational wealth, because if they paid their mother's house off, God forbid anything happens to her, that would also make them the recipients of taking control of that particular house. So generational wealth, keep it in the family. Keep it in the family. Keep it in the family. Generational wealth. Generational prosperity. Generational prosperity is less stress. It means no stress on your family, because there's one thing you won't have to worry about, and that's finances. Get it together, folks. It's time for us to pull together as a people.
And you know what time it is?
You know what time it
it's
is?
Time for KP's Video News.
You know what time it is?
KP's Video News.
Peace.